Welcome everybody, Josh RV Nerd of Bish's RV, down here at Forest River today, taking a look at an evolution of something that just took the entire industry by storm a couple years ago. Salem Wildwood came out with these crazy like hidden bunk in the slide rooms, massive campsite window coverage, but they've continued to kind of evolve it, and it has grown up into what they're now calling the Zen, kind of sub-series of Salem Wildwood models. A lot of focus on a lot of windows, but a lot of really wacky, weird floor plans that are just not like the industry standard. There's so many people that watch my videos like, when are they gonna put the windows on the campsite? I don't wanna look out the poop side of my camper and look at the neighbors. Well, you don't have that problem here. Instead, all of the window coverage well, not all of it, a ton of window coverage focused on your side. It actually has insane window coverage even in the rear kitchen. But of course, you've got that extremely long, extended kind of, sleeper, mega sofa situation station going on in the middle of this one, straight across from like a double pantry entertainment center that puts you straight on the boardwalk and park place. The trick with this floor plan is, even though it has a slide, it doesn't always look and feel necessarily as large in the living room as some other models, because it does have that hidden bunk office multi-function room built right into the slide right there, or it could be a little laptop warrior station. It could be a pair of single bunks. You could use it, to keep some kind of cargo in there, depending on what you want to do with it. Like, it is a very multifunctional space. It could be almost like a pet bed area. They actually do duct air conditioning into it, so you're not going to cook yourself out of that space necessarily. They also have an enhanced airflow system on the air conditioner on this. Speaking of which, we're washer dryer prepped. We got a big old power bed up in the front bedroom, heated and closed belly. We're looking at the retro tin skin today. They do offer platinum fiberglass if you prefer that sleek, smexy look, and a bunch of other things. So if you like the footage today, hit that subscribe button and let us know what you think about this one as we go. And it might be your first time seeing one of these. It might kind of blow your mind when we see the little hidden, secret space built into the bunk room slide over here. But when this first came out, it just absolutely rocked people. And I'm not gonna lie, it still speaks to my inner child, which, to be fair, is about 87% of my inner monologue is my inner child. Like, one time, my wife and I, we take turns choosing what shows to watch on Netflix, which I like the fact that they're putting the fake size TVs up there to give us an idea of like how like that could be a 40-inch TV. That's actually, I think, really helpful. But my wife accidentally jumped into my Netflix one time, and it's nothing but like anime and cartoons. And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's definitely mine and not yours." I don't even think my wife realized how big of a giant man-child she actually married. But, we made an agreement. She's going to stick with me until one of us dies, blah, blah, blah. So that's also the reason I don't take out too much in the way of life insurance. I don't want to make myself a target. I don't want to make it beneficial for me to get knocked off of this planet necessarily. But it occurs to me, I am way off topic here. Let's get back to the task at hand. This is a member of the full Salem Wildwood series, which means that I'm walking into a wall behind me. It has a 6'9" floor to ceiling clearance, which is a little bit bigger than the Cruise Light, X-Lite members. And they have recently evolved into the Zen models, and you're going to see a lot of cool extra little eye candy like this, but it's extra lighting. I think it's actually kind of cool. And this thing just has monster window coverage, especially on the campsite of the RV. But one of the things that I like about it is the extended wraparound lounge that you get right here. That can fold down into a big sleeper if you need it to be. But it's like large enough that an adult can stretch out and lay across it and, take like a little daytime snooze, or just lay down to watch TV. Sometimes you don't want to just sit there. So this thing over here, this is what's interesting. It's actually a door with storage built onto it. You see the thickness of this sucker right here. Well, you see it actually does have a door handle. So you can't like lock somebody in the room. They can get out. So, you know, it's not a kidnapper special by any stretch of the imagination. Now, I don't like to use fisheye wide angle lenses. This is just a traditional flat screen that we're looking through right here. So this is a little bit more what it'll look like when you see it in person. If you want to, you could bring like a little stool or something. This could be a small little laptop station. Obviously not going to be a full-time necessarily computer office option unless you do a little customization here. But that's the thing. It actually would not be hard to do that. You see that you've got to move Bunk, get out the way. That's so easy to operate with that gas strut. It is ludicrous. And over here, oh, hold on. Let me finish kicking the lights on here. We actually have this little fan system. It's here. You're going to listen. It's loud. Like, if I'm sitting here next to it talking, you can hear it. But it's a variable output system. You can dial it down. You can crank it up. You can shut it off. You can do whatever you want. You can do the time warp again. But what that's doing is this is the slide out right here. That cavity is actually in the main body cabin of the RV, and that's basically an air conditioner, forced air, ram air chimney sucking air out of the air conditioner system and pumping it down here into this little room. So it's a little different. It doesn't work for everybody, but they do provide some airflow in here. Now, these have been out for about 2 or 3 years. I would love to hear from actual owners on a hot summer day. How is this working? Because I don't know. And I'm not going to pretend, and I'm not going to be like, trust me, I am a salesman. It will do the thing. I don't know if it will or it won't. But I know that these have been out long enough, and these have been popular enough that someone is going to know the answer. Now, you might notice, too, they use all this space anywhere that they can. Like, you've got those double length, big double totes up in there. You could take those out. You could put whatever else you want in it. If you wanted to, this is just a bunk mattress thrown on the floor. You could absolutely take that thing out of there, but it creates the opportunity for a non-bunkhouse camper, in a sense, to have bunks. And what I mean by that is this is not the type of floor plan when you're in the living room that looks, feels, and reads like a bunkhouse. But it can serve as that function. So where I think this floor plan could be really, really cool is, what if you're the type of person that has only sometimes guests? For the most part, it doesn't feel like you gave up a ton of space in your RV to have the extra sleeping capacity of a bunkhouse. It's just there if you want it. And you see how they did still include some storage capacity over here on the front side of this. It's not all just what's back there in that hidden room. But that trend continues as we weave our way over here into this gigantic kind of wraparound dining lounge where you have all these little totes stored under this thing. But again, if you find the need, this can become one of the biggest sleepers I think you're going to run into right here. Now, obviously, it's got the fold in the middle. I'm not saying you're going to want to spend the entire weekend here, but in a pinch with some extra guests over the weekend, you could make that work. And, of course, the campside window coverage of this is basically unparalleled. Now, I find it very interesting. There have been some people who have made comments stating things like, what good are all the campside windows in the world if your back is facing away from them in the sofa? And I understand that at a surface level, but I ask you, what's the solution then? Because if you made the sofa face the other way, they would just put the entertainment wall over here, and then we'd lose all the windows. So if there's a third option I'm not aware of, I would love to be made aware of it. Now, when we get up front here, you see how there's this little 1-2 cushion combo. Then there's a second one over on the left-hand side. That can also be removed to make this a giant, kind of space. I don't remember the square footage of countertop space that we have in this, but it's pretty awesome. Which that sounds like one of the dumbest things I have ever said right there. Like, you don't need to know the specifics. Just trust me. I'm a salesperson. Like, anyway, good news is I'm not actually in sales. I'm just your friendly neighborhood camera jockey, but I do apologize. I don't remember the specific square footage measurement of the kitchen counter space back here. What I do remember is that the window coverage on this is absolutely outstanding. And I am kind of a sucker for these sort of dining bar arrangements with these little chairs right here. And it's interesting. I still haven't quite figured out why they do this, but this section of the countertop over here is actually, it can flip down for some reason if you don't want it there. Is there any reason you would not want this counter space here? I haven't found one yet, but you know, when you are back here, if you're sitting down, grabbing a bite to eat, you're just enjoying the airflow from these windows. Or, yeah, there's going to be people who are like, man, I camp in Texas. There's no way I can leave these windows open. I'd get smoked out of here. You do have blackout roller shades on these things as well. Now, I didn't necessarily intend to get myself buried into the kitchen like this before I started showing you storage, but neither here nor there. It's where we are right now, so I'm going to just kind of roll with it and roll that beautiful bean footage. First of all, that trash can solution, I give it a chef's kiss. I have no notes. That's awesome. Thank you. And it's easy to miss, but we actually do have kitchen drawer space here. They do a drawer behind a door. One, because it looks nice when it's all closed up, but two, it's less expensive versus having 3 drawer fronts. It's kind of funny. The drawer front is actually one of the most expensive parts of the drawer. So if they can do 1 door instead of 3 drawer fronts, it actually saves you some money. And this has been either a love it or hate it kind of thing. The little microwave garage door, if you will. If you don't like it, it could just be taken off. But some people love the fact that it just gives it a little bit of a different look. Now, I kind of want to call this a little appliance nook in the corner. I'm just not sure it's going to be that because it's just a little shallow. Interesting to me, they put some power outlets in there. Speaking of which, I got some stuff out of the way. You might have noticed the power outlets under the countertop level earlier, but you see where if you want to, you could feed some power cords up there a little bit. Let me back up a little further. Again, if the sun is just cooking you out of the sucker, you have those windows there. Oh, actually, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the sun cooking you out of the thing, because this RV obviously has insane window coverage, and windows have next to 0 R value. Well, of course, they're obviously tinting those windows, but one of the other things that is they do standard on this Zen sub-series, they outfit their air conditioners with what's called the RV airflow system, which sounds a little too mundane. The thing is, a lot of RV air conditioning systems are very inefficient in how they're ducted and routed. And the RV airflow system was historically an aftermarket thing that smoothed out the turbulence. It reduced the turbulence of the airflow coming off this 15,000 BTU Coleman Mach central air. And it makes it, the air with less turbulence, more effectively make its way down the RV. Now, that means a couple things. It means less volume, and it means more cooling down in here because the airflow is not getting backed up in here, as it were. So little extra detail to keep in mind right there. And by the way, I mentioned how you have that little ram air turbo, reverse chimney going on for the central air unit there, the air unit in the slide. That's kind of what we're looking at here. It basically just kind of throws air into this almost like a drawer, and then there's a little mini fan that kind of sucks some of the air down. And again, I don't know how well it works. I know that these have been very popular, and I haven't had a lot of customers telling me that it's been a problem, but I have not personally done it. So I don't want to try to make claims that I can't personally back up. I would, again, love it if someone who has actually owned one of these and has actually used it could kind of chime in and share some notes with the class. That, I think, would be very handy, very cool. Now, our ceiling cabin lights in the living room, they are on a dimmer switch, by the way. Here in the bedroom, or bathroom, pardon me, not in the bedroom yet, not unless you've had a couple drinks, you don't see a traditional medicine cabinet. And I'm weaving the camera around the corner over here. You've got these kind of little shelf things over here that I kind of wish they were enclosed, or at least had a little bit of cargo netting at the bottom so they could kind of hold some stuff in place. So when you get to your destination, you could probably set out some bathroom stuff, but getting to the destination, I could see it being a situation where you need to basically put a bunch of that stuff in the sink so that it doesn't go falling all over the place. If you notice here, the space around that now porcelain foot flush stool, these used to be all plastic, now porcelain, plenty of space down there. They actually have started including a couple extra towel hooks and whatnot above you. And as we get up here, you see that the headroom in the shower, even if you're wearing, I'm a little over 6 foot, I'm wearing super thick soled shoes, and I can just squeak into that sucker because this RV does have a 6'9" floor to ceiling clearance. That's going to be one of your differentiating factors right here versus the this is a full Salem Wildwood. The Cruise Light X lights are only 6.5 foot tall. Now, if you have the solar package installed, you'll see the charge controller here. If it is only solar prepped, you'll see a big blank black box right there that's basically telling you, hey, we're solar prepped. They have also now gone to the one control system where it still has switches to turn off lights and things and dimmers, but you could Bluetooth connect this off your phone if you are so inclined. I'm not a person who's super big into the smart command systems anymore. I like the idea of it, but I have just kind of grown to appreciate traditional boring switches. Now you can see that we have a power incliner on this bed. This is what they call their VersaTilt, because everything with Salem and Wildwood is Versa this and Versa that, because they are versatile, basically. And when the bed's out of the way, it creates a lot of floor space there to get dressed. They also include the little steps to help the pets get up here, and it's easy to miss. I always forget it because the bedspreads are always in the way. They have a little laundry chute right there as well with a little mini hamper netting. Over here on, well, both sides of the bedroom actually have some pretty big airflow window coverage. That's one of the major things that they really kind of came out with a couple years ago. The trick is, with like the pet steps and everything, you can't exactly, I say, walk around the bed. Like, I was actually standing on the lower step right there to reach that. And you might notice that it's not strutted or anything. It kind of goes on its own. The bed here, they give you the dimensions, which is kind of nice. They tell you it's 66 by 78, which isn't a king size, despite what that sticker says. 66 by 80, almost the exact same thing, is what's known as an Olympic queen. That's kind of how I tend to wrap my head around this one. Now, the bed is mounted in here asymmetrically. It's a little bit, there's a little more depth over here because they included larger side stands, but they also included basically this hanging cabinet right here. Now, I've noticed a couple of these cabinet doors tend to bump into this. I'll be surprised if they don't end up adopting a curtain. I've heard rumor that they might go to some kind of curtain to kind of make it so the doors can open more fully. If I get you around here, over in this corner, we have either just a gigantic big bonus closet, or, as you'll notice about now, we are washer dryer prep. So if you want to throw even a stackable washer dryer unit in there, you absolutely can. You do have TV hookups over here in the bedroom. And I know I'm right up close and personal, but it's a small space and I don't use a tricky fisheye wide angle lens. So this is what we get. And I figure you would probably like to see the bed a little bit in the down position. And again, I don't use the crazy angle lenses unless I absolutely can't get away from it. But when the bed's down, the good news, what I want to show you is that you can still walk around the bed. It's obviously a little tighter to the wall when you do that, but you can. Now, unbeknownst to you, I have also closed the slide out at the same time, so allow me to get spun around here a little bit. This RV does not have perfect 4-star, 5-star road mode access just because of the nature of the layout. It's an RV that definitely works best at a destination because everything in the back chunk of this is effectively lost. If you really needed to, technically, you could still open this. There's the little hidden handle down in here, and you could get into the slide. I just don't know how useful that's going to be to some people, but I guess it's worth mentioning. The question always comes up, how much cargo weight can the slide hold? I still do not have a hard answer at this time. I wish I did. I don't. All I can tell you is use common sense and don't use it to haul bags of concrete mix, essentially, I guess. Now, the trick with this one is it's just a little bit bigger than where I feel comfortable talking about half-ton capability. And I'm sure there are people out there that are half-ton towing one of these doing just fine with it. But It just doesn't feel like a good generalized recommendation to me. So I personally think something this size, this weight, this length would do better with some variety of 3/4 ton yanking it around. Now we're looking at a Salem today, but Wildwood is literally the same thing. Salem and Wildwood are identical twins. The only difference is Salem has kind of blue stickers and Wildwood has kind of orange bronzy stickers. Other than that, they're the same. They both have the little dry erase board, same size, same weight, same price, built by the same people in the shop that you can actually see over here in the background. Now, you do have a full pass-through cavity on this one. Sometimes they're not able to accomplish that due to where they are required, like forced basically to put things like the water heater, the furnace. This one doesn't have that problem. You might notice there is a little bit of a patio light beam above that baggage door. It's hard to spot from here. There's actually another one under those gigantic picture windows, but you might notice too the full window tint. That's something a couple years ago Salem Wildwood was not doing. They have though put a monster freaking awning on this thing, and what I like about this, having no slides over here, means you just have tons of room where even if you have like a couple big folding zero gravity chairs or something like that and a picnic table under the awning, you still have plenty of space. They also put the entertainment down where it's not blowing the neighbors away. It drives me crazy when manufacturers put the speakers practically on the roof, because the only people that can ever hear that are the neighbors, and they never seem to like your music. Every camping neighbor I've ever had has the worst taste in music. Although that being said, I actually pretty sure I also have the worst taste in music, because everybody who's not you has the worst taste in music when you're camping. Have you ever noticed that? Anyway, maybe that's just me. You do have a little mini camp kitchenette. This is actually kind of squirreled away under an L-shaped chunk of the kitchen counter that wouldn't really be functional on the interior of the RV. So they had a space that they didn't want to waste it, and they realized they could put a fridge and a griddle in there. And if you don't want those things, you could take them out, but they are factory standard. What I notice here, though, is the griddle is actually in a full galvanized rolled steel kind of table. So if you do want to pop that out and make like a little, I don't know, drink convenience station, you could. Hot, cold outside utility shower over here. Great little way, by the way, to like rinse your feet off, or the kids' feet, before they go tracking the great outdoors into your great indoors on this RV. That awning is large. It actually does have a center support on it. That's a tankless on-demand water heater over here. Notice it seems like fewer and fewer brands are actually including a bumper. And I'd be kind of curious if you could tell me why down in the comments section. I'll give you about 5 seconds to respond. But basically the answer is manufacturers are required to measure to the back of the longest fixed point, basically. So essentially, by having a rear bumper, it means that manufacturers have to say this RV is about 6 inches longer. Now, if they chopped the rear bumper off and saved a couple bucks, on paper, the RV could be a few inches shorter, which makes it seem a little more attractive to potential buyers. That's why a lot of manufacturers don't have bumpers anymore. That's really, truly one of the biggest reasons. We are ladder prepped. Naturally, the ladder's not included, but we are ladder prepped up to that fully walkable roof. They do offer a 200-watt factory solar package optionally on these right here. You might have noticed the charge controller prep location on the inside of the RV. And once again, it doesn't really matter where you are, what side of the RV you're on, or what room you're in. The window coverage on this is basically bananas. And if you ever can't remember how to spell that word, just remember that Gwen Stefani song, and that's basically how I usually remember to spell bananas. Otherwise, I get lost somewhere in the N-A-N-A-N-E-N-E-S. I get a little mixed up in there. I don't know why my alarm is going off right now in my pocket. I'll have to figure that out in a second. So you see 2 sewer outlets, but most of us are only going to have to worry about one. The one over here on the right is where all of your black and gray tanks outlet. So, hold on. Oh my God. I just realized this is a big rear kitchen. I don't think last year they had combined this. Oh my God. It just blew my mind. They actually did bring the rear kitchen gray all the way up here. Holy crap, that's cool. Okay, so kitchen and bathroom black and gray, all exhausting out into one point. That is awesome that they were paying attention to that. Meanwhile, you got this guy right here. That is just a straight shot down from the washer dryer hookups. It does not have an onboard holding tank for that. So if you want to utilize the washer dryer function, you are going to need to have on-site sewer basically to be able to handle that quantity of gray water. So double check the links in the video description if you're curious about pricing and or availability. Short of that, if you're like, I like this, but I need something that's a little shorter, a little lighter, a little more affordable, take a look at the 24 Zen instead of the 290 Zen. You might notice the 3 model number designator. The 290 is built on the full Salem Wildwood platform. The 24 Zen is built on the little brother X-Lite Cruise Light platform. So same general concept, but a little bit different size. It'll be different enough that it might change your vehicle and it might change your kind of budget bracket a little bit, but they kind of make one a little bit bigger and one a little bit smaller, and then they make some single axles that are a little bit smaller still, also with some similar features. So basically, whatever you're looking for, they got some weird version of this, even up into some of their fifth wheels and the extended members of the family here. But let me know what you think about it. It's about the 3rd year this has been out there in production. Has it run its course? Do you think it still has legs? I don't know. I just like that it's different because I see the same stuff all the time. So when I get to see different things, I get excited. But that's just my nerdy way. Short of that, we'll see you next time. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.